Very good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of Auditing and Assurance Standard Board of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, I welcome you all in today's 138 CP program organized by AASB of ICI. As we all are aware that we are in process of knowledge dissemination activities relating to the auditing and auditing standards. Today we are going to cover very important two topics, that is the use of Excel in auditing and audit documentation. So we are having with us two eminent speakers, CA Shiva Prasad ji and CA Vijay Agarwal ji. So on behalf of AASB of ICI, I extend my warm welcome to both the learned speakers, Shiva ji and Vijay Agarwal ji. Welcome to you, sir. We are having with us two moderators, Anshu Dabash Madam and Sweeti Srivastava ji. So I also welcome both the moderators for today's webinar. I also welcome all the participants of today's webinar as the topic is very relevant and it would be very informative as we are having with us two learned speakers and they are going to spend a complete 2 hours in the knowledge dissemination and they will share their expertise with all our members. So without wasting much more time, I request Madam Sweeti ji to please start the proceedings of the today's webinar. Over to you, Madam Sweeti ji.
Thank you. Reverend fraternity members, distinguished speakers, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to our webinar on audit documentation and use of Excel for data analysis and for enhancing audit quality in audit trail. To begin with, as today marks the 138th CPE webinar for this year, a significant milestone, and we extend a heartfelt thanks to our Auditing and Assurance Standards Board for its invaluable efforts in making this event possible. Our topic, audit documentation. As per SA 230, it means records of audit procedures performed by an auditor during the audit. It's no less than a backbone of our audit. So today we'll gain more insights about integrating Excel analysis with audit documentation by linking audit sources and analysis results into the work paper that helps in maintaining a cohesive audit trail. Today, we have two illustrious speakers with us, CA Sivaprasad Annaparabu sir and CA Vijay Agrawal sir. I feel honored to introduce our first speaker, CA Sivaprasad sir. A data scientist at AMPBA, ISB chairman of ITC, FAPCCI, committee member at AP State GRC. Sir is a managing partner at SGRP and Associates LLP, a prestigious CA firm. Also, he is a known founder and mentor of Sadhguru Audit and GRC Solutions Private Limited, which has developed products like AnyAudit.in, SkillUp.co.in, TaxResearch.in, which has benefited thousands of customers across India and world. The list doesn't end here. Apart from being faculty for GST, he has, to his credit, more than 200 seminars for ICAI and other professional bodies. Now, I would request my co-moderator, Shri Anshu Dabas, to introduce our next speaker for the day.
Welcome everyone to the seminar. So we are honored to introduce our second speaker of the day, Mr. Vijay Agarwal, a distinguished big data analyst and automation expert with over 30 years of experience as a chartered accountant and a company secretary. As the founder director of the Champ Excel Consulting, he specialized in Power BI and Microsoft 365 Excel trainings, focusing on process automation to optimize cost and time for corporates. Mr. Agarwal is also Microsoft's Most Valuable Professional awardee for 4 consecutive years, a recognition given to fewer than 100 experts worldwide. He has been invited by the Microsoft to their headquarters in USA multiple times. Mr. Agarwal has empowered numerous organizations such as Telenor, Company Generals, and Havels through his expertise. He is also a sought-after faculty member of ICI's Forensic Audit and Fraud Reduction Program and has led over 350 impactful workshops and webinars globally, including in Kuwait and Dubai. We are privileged to have him share his insights with us today. And with this, I'd like Mr. Shiv Prasad sir to carry on with his insights on the audit documentation.
Yeah, very good afternoon, and thanks for the introduction. Thanks to Audit and Assurance Standard Board for this opportunity. This is an appropriate time while the audits have just concluded when it comes to corporates and the tax audits are underway. The need of the documentation, the need of analyzing the data, the next session to come, that is Excel, use of Excel in analysis of the data. It's an appropriate moment. So So let us start and go ahead. And I just take you through, let me share my screen. Yeah, please confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine.
It is.
Now, my session, I just give a brief of the roadmap of this session. So I'll take you through some of the requirements of the audit documentation, how the audit documentation is going to affect us, and what are the regulatory requirements in that. I'll also take the help of an audit ERP by name Any Audit as to how we can practically implement this audit automation and see that the documentation part is automated. Okay. So a little brief on the audit documentation. As rightly introduced, SA 230 mandates us to maintain the audit documentation. And apart from being a regulatory requirement, apart from the auditing standard, see, an audit is guided by a lot of regulatory. Firstly, our mother institute, ICAI, to not be under the disciplinary action. And we all know that NEFRA, which is an independent body constituted under the Companies Act, which is having an oversight and then regulatory oversight on the audit, SEBI, CAG, Companies Act, and MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, RBI. So all of these regulatory authorities are having the power to verify and check if the audit is done properly or not. And audit documentation is the only way which we can defend that the audit has been done properly. Okay. ICAI as a regulatory authority had got a lot of insights for us. One, the peer review mechanism, the quality review mechanism, the FRRB mechanism. Apart from that, the voluntary evaluation of the audit quality by the form of audit quality maturity model, which was recently introduced and is now it is in recommendatory phase, moving into the mandatory phase. So all of these are emphasizing the need of the audit documentation to portray that the audit has been done properly. So what is audit documentation? Any working papers, any pre-signed drafts, can they be considered as audit documentation? What is all audit documentation? So SA 230, it is not an exact verbatim or repetition of SA 230, but audit documentation defines it as the record of audit procedures performed, the relevant audit evidences obtained, and the conclusions drawn. So the documentation is a collection of various documents that have the value to demonstrate that the audit has been done properly. So therefore, which audit procedures are performed, what evidences are obtained, and what conclusions are drawn. If we categorically put this in one particular collection, then that can be called as an audit documentation. Then what is an objective of audit documentation? The audit documentation, in fact, it is it must create an appropriate record that an audit report has been properly drawn. The audit conclusion has been properly drawn. Okay. So it's a very open-ended objective. Act is not defining that we have to collect these documents. Rather, it says that whatever the auditor in his professional judgment feels it relevant to demonstrate that the audit has been done. So it is not mandating that these are the requirements. It is a professional judgment of the auditor to see that he collects and he puts it on record, everything that is relevant to demonstrate that the audit has been, or the audit opinion has been arrived at properly. Now, where we use this audit documentation, is it only to defend before the regulatory authorities? Is it only as an protective mechanism? In fact, not. The moment the audit documentation is properly done, it reflects back on the quality of the audit itself. Okay. So it is not to showcase to someone else. It functionally adds value to the auditor himself directly by enhancing the quality of the audit. And quality will pave way to minimizing the cost, minimizing the manpower, minimizing the time. So therefore, functionally also audit documentation is very, very important, not only to demonstrate or to defend between someone, but also for us internally and functionally. Okay. And then what is a form? The context and the extent of audit documentation that is required. As I have already said, it is not so tightly defined. it is left to the auditor's judgment. But of course, a certain very broad and high level guidance is being given by the standard, like we have to maintain it into permanent file and current file. So like that, a little bit of an guidance is available from the standard, but much of it is open to the an auditor's judgment. No, the auditor shall prepare the audit documentation that is sufficient to enable what is a benchmark, what is an ultimate benchmark for an audit documentation. It goes like this. If we share our audit documentation to some other auditor, to an experienced auditor is one who is having a reasonable knowledge on the audit and the audit environment and the about the profession. An experienced auditor having no previous connection with the audit shall have to understand the audit. That is the benchmark. Okay. So therefore, whatever that is relevant, and it should be self-contained. Any experienced auditor who is not having any connection with this audit shall be able to make out as to how the audit has been planned, performed, implemented, and the conclusions are drawn. Now, what factors, how much of documentation is good enough? How much of documentation is sufficient enough? For that, we have to consider various factors. The size and complexity of the audit, the nature of the audit procedures that we are performing in the course, the identified risk of material misstatement. So therefore, all of these have got a functional relation to the form, content, and extent of the documentation. So more the complexity of the organization, more the size of the organization, more the risk of the misstatement that is perceived by the auditor, the need of documentation increases proportionately or directly. Okay. So therefore, the significance of the evidence obtained and the need to document a conclusion on the basis of for that conclusion. So based on all these factors, what kind of a conclusion that we have drawn, what is the basis of that conclusion, what audit methodology and what type of data analytics that we have used to arrive at a particular conclusion, or to why this sample and why not any other sample, how to prove that it is not affected by some bias. To demonstrate all of this, we have to build up the documentation sufficient enough, keeping in mind all of these factors. So therefore, before we close our documentation and archive it, we must have, in fact, before we start our audit itself, we must have these factors in mind so that we will be in a very clear path as to how much and to what extent it has to be documented. Now, the nature, timing, and extent of the documentation, when the documentation has to be done, there is no rule on this. In fact, documentation has to run parallel. But once the audit is done, we have got only very little time window of 60 days before which the document has to be closed and then archived. Now, what is included in documentation? What does not get included in the documentation? So it is a common practice that we see when we go for peer reviews and quality reviews, that a huge dump of papers will be kept into box files and people feel that it has documentation, while in the eyes of law and for the functional value also, it is not the case. Now, let us see what is included. The discussion on significant matters and the minutes that are prepared by the client and agreed by the auditor, how alternate procedures have been implemented to achieve the audit goal. And if we depart from any of the standard or the treatment that is there in accounting standards, what is the reason of this departure? All of this will form part of documentation. Well, of course, planning, performance, whatever had been said, in addition to that, these things will be included. Now, what is not included is any superseded drafts or working papers, rough workings, not finalized, in the pre-drafts, they will not form part of it. Similarly, the duplicates of the documents, the review notes and disposal of the review notes, the previous copies of the documents, the typographical errors that were rectified. Of course, if it is there, it may also have some value, but then it cannot be considered as a part of audit documentation. Now, what kind of audit files are perceived in SA 230? What are the type of files that we have to maintain? Okay, it is divided into two parts. One is the permanent audit file, and the second one is a current audit file. What is permanent audit file? Permanent audit file, as a name itself suggests, it is at the client level. It is above the current period, and it transcends to all the years while the audit is continuing. So therefore, anything that is of relevance for all the periods that we are continuing as an auditor shall be kept in this permanent audit file. Needless to say, certain instances like all the licenses and approvals, all the engagement letters and communication to the previous auditor, and every resolution that have a bearing that transcends beyond the current period shall all be filed into the permanent audit file. And as the name suggests, it is permanent in its nature. And while the current audit file is like an running account of the audit findings, where we keep anything that is relevant for this particular period under the audit. Okay. Of course, again, the comparison or the division is not very watertight. What can be kept on current file can also be kept on a permanent file if auditors feel so. But then it is for a better organization of the audit documentation. And also, while we go for the next year, subsequent years, it is very, very relevant for us to refer to the permanent audit file because that gives us a perspective as to the context of the audit. Now, once file has been archived, or if it is in a digital form, if it has been signed off or closed, then whether any changes are permitted to that audit file. Okay. The golden rule is that none of the changes are permitted. But of course, certain very trivial changes like sorting them, collating them, cross-referencing them, and any superseded or not usable things to be discarded. So these are certain permitted changes. As I said, the golden rule is not to change anything in the audit file once it has been signed off and closed or archived. It is always, it is at least, if not conclusive, it will have a persuasive value that some audit file has been tampered with. So therefore, as a general rule, no changes are permitted to the audit file post the sign off. Okay. So therefore, no deletions, no discardings, no changes, except to clarify the existing documentation. If you are adding up something, that is okay. But that addition should also be to what is existing. We cannot make it over to appear that an audit procedure which was not originally done as to have been done during the audit period. It amounts to manipulation. So therefore, audit file should not be changed once it is done. So this is what the auditing standard says about what is audit documentation, what has to go into it, what factors are important, how it has to be organized, and then what changes are permitted and what changes are not permitted. Now, we all know we are racing against time. The time at our disposal is very, very limited. And then the very idea that we have to document it after the completion of the audit, that itself is redundant. So unless we are documenting it on a real-time basis through some automation, because the technological advancements that is happening on the side of the auditees world is so huge. Okay. The technological advancement of the regulatory is so huge. Now, today, if we put the audit document, if you put the final audit report into ChatGPT or some other generative AI and ask it to generate the kind of anomalies, it is at the disposal of the regulatory to find all the anomalies at a go. So therefore, unless we adapt some sort of technology, it is very difficult to keep pace with the changing requirements. And let me show how the audit documentation can be done practically through the use of technology. Okay. For that, I'm taking one tool which through which I have given some professional inputs and that. So it is like this. Let me directly go to the product itself, hands-on. So I'm taking you through product by name, Any Audit, which is an end-to-end audit automation utility. And it is not an audit documentation tool. It is an audit execution tool, meaning that we execute the audit in that. So while we execute the audit in an electronic mode, what happens is audit documentation is an incidental advantage. Work allocation, work scheduling, audit documentation, data analytics are all a part of this program. And let me take through, like, I'll take one of the assignments. So this goes like this. The user will be able to select the assignments to which he is having the access rights. So let me take one assignment as a sample. Now, what is to be documented first? The most important document is audit plan. how the audit had been planned, what procedures are contemplated while we perform the audit plan. It starts with that. Okay. So in this electronic mode, in this ERP kind of an audit automation, the audit plan is auto drafted by the system. You can see on the screen, the audit plan is divided into chapters. Let me collapse all the chapters. So it was divided into various chapters like planning, data collection and sampling, financials, internal control, audit execution, audit findings, reporting, and the sign-off. So every step that needs to be done in this particular audit had been categorically put. And you can see on left-hand side, every working paper is given a WPR, working paper reference number, which is also done by the system automatically. So the cross-referencing of one working paper to another working paper, listing of all the working papers is done by the system. Now we may surprise like how the system knows what the kind of audit it has to do. Let me take you step by step. There is a facility to import the relevant template according to the audit that we are performing. That is how the system does it. So the system is loaded with a lot of libraries. Like if I select Schedule 3 Division 1 Statutory Audit, the system will draw the audit plan for me, all the categorical steps that are to be done in that particular audit. Like that, the system had got a lot of audit master packs, while the user can also add their own master packs. Like if he is doing tax audit, if he is doing internal audit, if he is doing GST audit or a limited review, he can select the relevant master pack, which will trigger all the audit steps in one go without omitting or without duplicating any one of the steps. Well, of course, can the system create the whole audit plan on its own? The answer is no. It can do to certain extent. The balance is also automated as I go to explain like this. Once I select a relevant audit template, like for example, I have taken Schedule 3 Division 1 and if I submit, of course, I have already done. I have got only 1 hour of time. So therefore, I'm not doing it. I'm just presenting it. Once I select the Division 1 Schedule 3 audit plan, all the steps that are to be done, right from engagement acceptance to the last sign off, had been drawn by the system automatically. Now, few of the steps are driven by the facts. Like, for example, based on turnover, based on borrowings, based on certain other criteria, the audit will have to change a different course of action. How the system takes care of that? Okay. One of the next important steps is collection of audit facts. So let me go to this corner, collection of audit facts. Here, the system asks or prompts me to put the relevant facts, like what is a turnover, what is the type of the company, how much of loans and borrowings it has got. Well, these numbers, if I'm integrating with the financial statement module, I need not give them, or if they are not integrated, I have to feed them manually. Once I give these numbers, like it's a public limited company, and this is a turnover and the borrowings, the system had got the capability to analyze all the provisions of the Companies Act and draw the relevant audit plan for us. So it is a data-driven audit and it is an automatic approach. While of course the documentation is also happening parallelly. That is the beauty of it. Now, if I alter any of these proceedings, all the relevant audit decisions, let me go to the decision screen. Now, the system is evaluating all of these decisions, whether GSTR 9 is applicable, 9C is applicable, whether CARO is applicable, whether internal control reporting is applicable, whether mandatory audit committee is applicable. All of these decisions are evaluated by the system automatically. And the consequential action of that is also taken by the system automatically. And all of this is driven by these facts, like as many or as few as 10 to 15. Let us take, I change this type of company from private limited to, let us say, listed company. And I alter the turnover from 3 crores, I'm making it to 6 crores. So the moment I change it to 6 crores, what happens is it will consider this turnover and this constitution or the nature of the company, and it draws a whole audit plan for me. Now, if I go to my audit decisions, now I can see here certain of the decisions are no. If I refresh it, automatically the system will recalculate all the decisions based on the facts that I have fed, and all decisions are evaluated by the system. So this will ensure that the auditor is not missing any of the relevant regulatory provisions. And where is documentation? That is the theme of today's session. Because we are doing it in a portal, in an automatic ERP kind of an environment, the documentation is automatic. Like if I click on any one of these rules, like mandatory internal audit, how it has been evaluated as applicable. If I click on this PDF icon, the system will generate the documentation on the go at that particular moment on a real-time basis. You can see here the decision, how it had been evaluated is documented. And this is exactly as per the working paper template model that was issued by our institute. You can see client assignment on left-hand side, who prepared, who signed off, who reviewed, and what is a working paper reference had been created by the system. Therefore, the need to generate the audit documentation itself is eliminated. The moment you perform the audit, that itself is a proof of documenting it. When the documentation is available at any point of time on a real-time basis, with a click of a button, the audit documentation gets generated. And same is the case in any scenario. Let me go back to the planner. Let me go back to the plan. So like that, there are a lot of drafts that are to be filled, like no objection letter to be obtained, appointment letter by the company, independence confirmation by all the audit team members. All of these drafts that the auditor has to prepare, and he has to share with the client or share to the regulatory or share to the previous auditor. They are all pre-drafted based on a template that we have selected. Now let me go into any one of them, like independence confirmation by the audit team. If I go to this independence letter, independence confirmation to be obtained by all the key audit members and staff members, you can see that all of these are pre-drafted and they are also filled, like ABC Associates, Chartered Accountants is pre-filled. How the system knows how to pre-fill them? Again, based on these facts. So once you fetch the facts, all the standard documentation that has to be generated out of that is generated. All the regulatory provisions are evaluated for their applicability. And then based on that, if certain additional audit procedures are to be done, they are also factored into the audit plan. Now, what if I want to document the audit plan itself? Again, you click on the audit plan PDF, it will generate the whole audit plan into one printable PDF. So therefore, to meet the regulatory requirements, now this is engagement planner, what steps we have contemplated, how many are done and how many are yet to be done at the particular given moment of time. So that way, it automates the whole process right from planning to the final step of report making. Now, this is only the step one. Well, audit goes into a lot of other modules, like there is a module on financial statements, there is a module on internal control evaluation, there's a module on data analytics and sampling. So as an integrated environment, it starts from planning and ends with report, and it will enable the auditor to do everything in between. Now let me go to data analytics and sampling module. So this is one module where the auditor can take lots of data and analyze it the way he wants. Of course, in the next session, Vijay sir will take you through how to do it in Excel using formulas and in a conventional, of course, now Excel had become a little conventional. So you can do a lot of other powerful functions in Excel where you can. There is a data analytics module also inbuilt into this, which comes preloaded with a lot of audit functions. Of course, Excel is a generic utility. You'll be able to do a lot of other calculations and you can prepare a lot of statements and all. Whereas here it is a data analytics in the audit, which comes preloaded with a lot of audit related functions. Like let me take one of them. Because in a time I may not be able to cover all of them, but at least let me show a few of them. Now this, I have collected the data. How can I collect the data? I can upload any Excel file here. I can upload any Excel file here. Once it is done, the Excel file becomes accessible here. So I have uploaded my sales register, purchase register, fixed asset register, GSTR1. I can upload any data dump. I'll go to financial statements a little later. What you call as an ad hoc data or a discrete data, not a continuous data. I have taken a data dump and I have uploaded here. I'm going into my sales register. Now, without any formula and all, just by graphical user interface, the user will be able to perform a lot of analysis into the data. Okay, all of these icons that are available on the top will let the user choose how to analyze the data. Like here, you can see invoice number, date, customer ID, customer name. So therefore, there are multiple customers, and I want to have a grouping of the sales by customer. So I can choose the bivariate analysis here. So I'm putting customer on one side and the taxable value on another side, and I'm asking the system to submit it. So therefore, it had shown for each customer what is the total value that was sold, what is a count, what is a percentage of the sum that was covered per customer. So if I want to dig deep into any one of the customers, like Arav, I want to click on this, or if I want to click on this, I can have a drill down facility where I will be able to see what are all the sales that are made to that particular client. So like that, there are hundreds of functions that are available, all cut out for audit community. Like if I want to perform a random sampling on that. So how can I do a random sampling on that? So this is a random sampler. So click on this, whatever the sample that you want by choosing the parameters appropriately. Like for example, from the whole of the data set, I want to get 10 items at random. But of course, this is a very crude and rudimentary example to start with. Now, once I have asked the system to generate a sample of 10 from the whole 1600 plus data items, the system had generated a sample for me. Now I can further refine it and ask the system in any combination that I want. Like for example, for each category of vendor, for each category of customer, get me 2 items at random. Now it's a representative sampling, attributive sampling. So from each attribute of customer name, I want to have some representation. So the system will check how many unique customers are there. And then for each of the customer, how to select 2 things, that 2 at a random. Now, if not random, can I make it a weighted? That also the system will be able to do that. Now, the system had generated some 100 plus records for me, taking 2 records from each of the customers that I have got. Similarly, if I want to make a product-wise analysis of the data, like you can say gold, platinum, silver, these are all the products that I am selling. Now, what if I want to do a product-wise representation of the total data? So I can put my product on one side and I can put my, let us say, quantity on another side and submit it. Now there are 4 products. If I want to visualize it graphically, what I can do, I can click on the graph and it will show me for each of the products, what is a quantity and what is a value. So this will help us analyze the data like that. There are a lot of advanced statistical group by analysis, and then insert a column and then do a stratification of the data, do a Benford analysis of the data. Okay. So similarly, this is monetary unit sampling of the data, systematic unit sampling. These are all the various sampling techniques that are available, which the user can at a click of a button without writing any functions at a split second of a time. He will be able to generate the samples out of it. And it is not about the random sampling. What SFI20 says us is before we go for a sample, we have to see the quality of the data. Unless the risk is homogeneous, you cannot go for a random sample. Now, sampling is one part of the story. Now, let me take up 1 or 2 more items. Like if I click on stratify the data. Now, I want to see, what is a total taxable value. What is my minimum taxable value and maximum taxable value? If you click on this D for descriptive analysis, it will show how many items are there, like 1500 items are there. Average sales is of about 2,58,000. The minimum is 975 rupees and the maximum is about 8,99,000 rupees. So this gives us a whole, like my data is varying from this range to this range. So based on that, what I can do, I can stratify. Stratified random sampling is one of the very popularly used and very functionally advantageous sampling technique. Now, if I click on this stratify button, so the system will automatically stratify by selecting which column I want to stratify. Like I want to stratify taxable value into, let us say, 10 buckets. The system will stratify and show me the data into 10 buckets. And at one go, it will show me where my data is scattered across, where it is concentrated, where it is thinned out, and where it is thicker. And if I click on any one of them, I'll go into that particular drill down of the data pool, where if I click on these 55 line items, I'm able to see the 55 line items here. Like that, you can increase a calculated field, you can left join, right join, lot of advanced statistical. And similarly, if I want to see how many duplicated transactions are there, I'm clicking on duplicated transactions, whether any invoice numbers are duplicated. No duplicates are there. whether any whether any PAN numbers are duplicated, whether any PAN number is having multiple GSTIN numbers, whether any related party transactions are there, whether any cash transactions are there. At a click of a button, it will enable us to analyze the data the way we want. Of course, analysis of a data is only a part of that. The next session is completely on data analytics. So analysis of data is only one part of that. What about the audit that is to be done on that? How do we select a suitable audit procedure that is to be done on that? Now, I have clicked on another beautiful part of that is whatever the steps that are done are getting logged here for our future reference. If you want it to go to permanent file, that is audit documentation, you can save. Or if you don't want them, you can delete them off. Now, there are 3 samples I have selected as a sample. Once I click on that, the system allows me to select an appropriate audit procedure that is to be done on that particular sample. Now I'm clicking over here. The system allows me to pick up what kind of audit that is to be done on that. Should I fill a checklist? Should I perform a process walkthrough? Should I go for a balance confirmation? Should I conduct a physical inspection? Should I put them to control level testing? That is ICO for testing. Should I put them for a rating system? So these are the various audit tools that are available in the system, which can be configured by the auditor, or there are a lot of pre-configured items in the library which you can choose from. Like if I select a checklist, what kind of a checklist? So let us say I'm putting on purchase transactions verification checklist. Who is the maker of that and who is going to be the checker of that? So once I select the maker and checker, automatically the work gets allocated and they will get a prompt as to how it has to be filled, and they can fill the checklist over there. And like that, the process goes to the last audit report. Okay. And because the cost of repetition, I'm saying because we are doing everything at one place, the documentation is also automatic. So you can put the data, analyze the data the way it wants. There are hundreds of very, very powerful data analytical tools. Like, for example, I cannot demonstrate all of them due to lack of time. Like, for example, I have just to give an example, let us say I have a rate master. So from this date to this date, the management had fixed that this should be the rate of the product. So like that, the rate of product was changing. The MRP of the product was changing periodically. And in a year, it has changed 3 or 4 times. Now I want to analyze whether the product has been sold within that range that is applicable to that particular period. Now that I can do at a click of a button. So similarly, I'm selling it to various customers. Okay, I can see there are about 700 customers. So whether the same product in a same time period had been sold at a variable price, favoritism, whether any sales had happened at very significantly lower price when compared to the average price of that month to any particular given customer, I can click at a click of a button, I can generate that. Okay, like how can I do that? Let me do only one that example, and then let me move on. So how I can do that is, now here there are customers, here there are products, gold and silver, and here is a date. Now what I'm doing is, I'm converting my date. So let us say from the date I want to extract a month. How can I do that? So I can write a formula, but because this is an integrated one, I need not write a formula. I have to just select the appropriate function to be done. So I'm saying I'm selecting month end of a date or month of a date. So I'm asking month of a date, and I'm asking to insert as a new column. Now for every date, like this is 15th July, the system will pick up the July as a string and then had placed it in another row. Now you can see here month of the date as a new column. So let me pull that up in the stream. Okay, now I got, this is my product gold and this is my month as July. Now what I'm doing is I'm coupling both of them. So I'm clubbing the product and the month. So I'm selecting concatenate. So what columns to concatenate? I wish to concatenate the product name and also the month, and I want to give it as product month. Okay. Now for every of the month, I want to make a variance analysis. So how can I do that? So I'm going to generate. Am I audible? I'm getting a message that turn up the volume.
Yes, you are audible.
Hello.
Hello. Am
You
I
are
audible?
audible, sir.
So you're
Yeah, you
audible.
are audible.
So can you hear us?
Hello.
Sir, can you hear us? Hello.
Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to include a Z score for that, and I want to present like where the deviations are significant. So what I can do is I can go insert a column and say it as a Z score. Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you. So I want to include the Z score of that. And what I want to do is the numerical column, I'm taking the taxable value. And for the text column, I'm going by customer name. So once I submit that, what it will do is it will insert the Z score, the deviation for each of the customer, like what is my average Z score. Now, if I run a filter on that, wherever the transactions are sold at a significantly lower value or significantly higher value, I can be able to pick up all of those things. Now, if I select an operator, like if it is less than, or if it's greater than, let us say 1.25. So I'll get all the records which are above the value of that. So these are the transactions that are sold at significantly deviated price over the average. Okay. So just by selecting appropriate tools that are there on the ribbon, you will be able to analyze and generate the variance analysis on any of the factors that are there. And because of an integration, what happens is you can select your audit action that has to be done and by whom it has to be done. Now, let us go into another area that is on the financial statements and analysis thereof. The system had got an integrated way in which we can we can generate the financial statements. Of course, the generation here is from the audit angle for comparative analysis and all. Now, I can upload the trial balance or the now once I upload my trial balance. So here there is an option to upload the trial balance. Once I upload the trial balance here, the system, I can upload multiple trial balances as well. Once I upload the trial balance here, the system will generate the financial statements in the particular framework. Of course, not for the purpose of analysis, for the purpose of the audit. Now here you can see the financial statements were put up in a comparative format, the previous year numbers and the current year numbers. And wherever the deviation is significant, the system and automatically identified them. So this is a documentation to show that the comparative analysis or analytical review had been done on the financials. So similarly, there are a lot of other options like location level financials, cash flow, and then the ratios. The ready to print financials in a format is also there. Year to date reports. These are all done by the system automatically. Now, another important dimension of audit is determination of the materiality. Okay. So before we proceed for an audit, it's very, very important for the auditor to define the materiality. Now, there is a corner here. I can go click on materiality and I can define my materiality based on the numbers. Of course, all of these benchmarks like turnover, PBT, PAT, all of these are drawn from the system automatically. What all the user has to do is select his benchmark. Like on gross turnover, I want to go with 5%. And that is my only benchmark. Or if I select multiple benchmarks also, that is also possible. Or 1% of net worth. So I want to take these two benchmarks, and whichever is lower, that was taken as my planning material. I can also define my performance materiality, say 90% thereof, my performance materiality has been defined. So like that, I will be in a position to define my materiality. And once this materiality is done, what happens is the system will automatically categorize all the transactions above the planning materiality and performance materiality as material transactions. Okay. And any audit that is done, you can see here, all the transactions that are above the materiality were marked as material class of transactions. And wherever the misstatements that are found by the auditor are exceeding the materiality level, they are turning into red, giving an indication to the auditor where the major misstatements had happened. Okay. And this is one of the important documentations to be generated by the auditor. Like it is not complete or it is not sufficient to define materiality. We have to link it up whether the materiality so defined has been evaluated during the course of the audit and at the end of the audit. And if the individual or the aggregate misstatements are exceeding the materiality, whether the auditor had taken a suitable action. So here the auditor can identify wherever that is in red because there is a breach of materiality there. And if I want to know what are all the misstatements that are found in that area, simply by clicking on the misstatements that are found here, I can dig deep into what are all the audit findings. Like here, there is an understatement of debt redemption reserve. So all the audit findings that are made by my team, myself and my team, were all collated financial statement wise, risk wise, assertion wise, CARO wise, report wise. And then the auditor will be able to see them in any way they want. Similarly, if I go to my last step, that is, there are multiple steps here. So similarly, if I go to my final audit documentation or my final audit reports that are to be delivered, and if I select my CARO, now by clicking on any one of the paragraphs of CARO, I will be able to see all the findings that are relevant to that particular paragraph. So if I click on my current assignment findings, I will be able to see all the findings that are made during the course of the audit by whole of the audit team, which is relevant to this particular paragraph. So this helps me draw a paragraph in a better way by considering all the findings. So there is no chance of missing out any one of the findings, nor I am wasting my time on organizing the findings. The major problem in audit is organizing of the findings. Okay. So the audit findings are organized from start to the end, from planning stage to the final report. And not only that, I will have a navigation. I will have a possibility to navigate. Like if I want to know, somebody had said debenture redemption reserve, let us say sales have been overstated. Someone had said that. So if I want to know the context, who said, why it is so said, I can click down and I can go to that particular memo. If I click one step backward, I can go who made that memo. And if I am able to know the particular kind of checklist from which it had come, and if I click there, I will be even able to go to that particular checklist where from it is getting emanated. Similarly, if I go to my audit execution, that is another module where the all audit findings can be recorded. So let us take one of the examples of verification of cash sales. So this is a sample that I have selected by using the data analytics module inbuilt into the system. So I have selected some 17 samples over here. And if I click on any one of the sample, the user will be able to perform the audit here itself. So for each of the question, the user can make an answer, can attach the audit evidences here itself, can also link the other working papers that are relevant, cross-working paper linkages. I can assert anything that had gone wrong. So these are the assertions that are relevant. If any assertions are not applicable or had gone wrong, I can select the assertions. I can make my attachments. Not only that, I can also communicate internally or externally to the client. Okay. If I want to write something to my client to answer, I can click on this external communication, which shoots a mail to the external person, and they can very well log in here and then answer. So that way, you are capturing audit evidences, you are capturing the client communication that is relevant to each of the checklist or questionnaire, and everything is in context. And if at the end of the day you want to generate documentation, as I have said, there is a document generator in every screen. If I click on that, you will be able to get the PDF of that particular, whatever is a checklist, cash sales. So who made it, who is a maker checker, and you are able to see all the questions and the relevant answers in one go. One of the important regulatory things that I have said is AQMM, Audit Quality Maturity Model. So which had got the marking system for various aspects of the audit, the way the audit documentation has been done. Some of the important points of audit documentation is whether the audit is properly scheduled, whether the audit is given whether the audit team had been given proper training, whether the audit is properly planned in terms of what is a human resource that it requires. For each of them, there is a screen like teams and settings. So this will show who is engagement partner, who is a review partner, who are managers of this, who are makers and checkers of this particular audit. Similarly, if I go to my cost, how much of time each person had spent on this audit, what is a budgeted time to start with, and what are the actual time that is spent on this. This is also very, very important audit documentation to be maintained. And there is a score for this. If you go for AQMM released by Institute version 2, there is a score for whether the audit planning has been done, whether the sufficient budgeted resource have been allocated. So all of this becomes an integral part of that. Similarly, MIS reports, I can search through audit documentation multiple ways without going into each of the checklist. If I want to run a query on my checklist, like how many questions are answered negatively, how many questions have been answered not the way I have expected to answer. So I can simply go to my MIS report and run a query, which will fetch me all of those anomaly or transactions. Now, I have uploaded my financial data. Like if I uploaded my whole data daybook dump, then the system will automatically pick up anomalies. And there are about 100 plus ledger scrutiny anomalies that the system will do on an automated ledger scrutiny and give us an report as to where my misstatements are. So this is automated ledger scrutiny report where the system had run through all the daybook dump that I have uploaded and have found all the probable anomalies. You can see here, all the anomalies were categorized into various buckets. The first one is overall balance sheet level. At a balance sheet level, what are the significant areas that the auditor has to look for, like difference in opening balance, whether the previous, for each of the GLs, whether the audit balances as per the previous audit file are matching with the current year opening. So there are about 9 differences and they were put under high risk. Similarly, certain areas where I have to lay more concentration, like newly opened accounts, as accounts closed during the year, no movement accounts, movement, but they are squared off. Very high movement or balances with opposite polarity, balances above materiality. Similarly, if you go for revenue, so how many sales are done through cash sales? How many sales are done without having GST implication? How many sales are made to related parties? How many sales are made through journal vouchers? So all of these probable anomalies, it is not that there is an anomaly in that, it's a probable anomaly. And there is an audit documentation that all of those steps have been done by the auditor. That is the most important part. If you click on any one of them, like sales without GST, if I click on these 48, so I can dig deep into those transactions where there is a sale transaction, but no GST had been affected on that. And if I click on any one of the transaction, it will give a transaction view of that. So this is a transaction where it's like cash, debit, and sales credit. There is no GST implication on that. And if you are not comfortable with the transaction, you can very well scope and then run any of the audit actions that you have to do, like fill a checklist, go for balance confirmation, or put it in CAP. Like that, there are multiple modules to cater to multiple requirements. And this is a way in which the very performance is being done and the documentation is also happening. And in a way, I'm also discussing parallelly that all of these steps, how the ledgers have been analyzed, how the anomalies have been identified, how the probable anomalies have been put to audit test, how each of the audit tests have been done, like what evidences are collected, how the audit conclusions have been drawn. So this is what audit documentation has to prove on its own. And if I go to the last step, what is my last step? My first step is the last step. Go back to the planner. If I want to generate documentation, as I said, because we are doing it in an automated system, like if you type your journal entries in any accounting package like SAP, Tally, Zoho, or whatever, there is no need to generate a trial balance. There is no need to generate a balance sheet and P&L. They are readily available. In the same, if we are automating the audit documentation, the archival file, the permanent file and current file are available on a real time. Like if I want to generate the documentation for any one of the steps, so I can go click on any one of the steps, it will generate the document for that step. Like SF510, if I click on this, it will generate the audit documentation for SF510. Similarly, if I want it for whole of a chapter, like how the acceptance chapter has been done, it will generate the bunch of PDFs into one, and it will show all of that into one single PDF where I will be able to see the whole chapter at one go. So like that, I'll be able to perform the audit and also document it and also monitor how many works are pending with each of them. If I click on this bell icon, I will know exactly where my work is standing, how much of pending work is there, and with whom it is pending. So these many items are pending as of now. On memos, 11 are there. On external communication, 6 are there. And if I click, I can dig deep. So this will give me a visibility as to where the audit is standing, what is the percentage of completion as on date, which works have become overdue, which weeks of falling due in the next or upcoming procedures. So I'll be able to see and monitor. And these are all also having these systems in place is also having certain score in AQMM, and functionally it adds great value to the productivity of the audit and see that the manpower cost, time and resources are not wasted. So therefore, it's very important for us to put appropriate efforts, and documentation should always be coming up from the real work that had gone into. Otherwise, it is very difficult for us as a postmortem while the audit is done to revisit back our audit and to create a documentation is always an impossible task. It is said, but seldom done. So therefore, it is time for us to automate. It is time for us to embrace the change. And before I overstep my time, let me stop here and give it back to the moderators. Thank you. There was a little 1 minute kind of an voice break, I think, except that it was all good. Thanks a lot. And I give it back. Yeah, over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, we would request Vijay sir to share his wonderful insights with us.
Thank you, sweetie. And first of all, I'm very thankful to the committee for inviting me for this deliberation. And I'm very thankful to Mr. Siva, my co-speaker, for presenting a very good insight towards audit documentation and that tool like he has shown. So for the documentation, for the audit. So definitely, like once we are going to have like such type of tools, so it's going to help a lot. So friends, most of you maybe already like heard my deliberations or my like these Excel, these sessions. So I'm sure Excel is something which all the members, like their staff and every company, like they are using it. Without Excel, we can't think that yes, as a chartered accountant, like we can uh, justify our working or we can do the analysis and all those things. So today I'm going to share like some tips and also like how like Excel is going to be helpful in enhancing our audit quality, and also like in case like for audit documentations, like when we are doing these audits, so how to analyze the data and try to find out something like which is not relevant or exceptional items. So how Excel is going to help us, so that I'm going to share. So also like in last 10 minutes, like we can have the Q&A also in between. Also, if you have any questions, so you can write in the chat box. So definitely my moderators, so our moderators like Ansu and Sweetie, so they are going to help us. And thank you. So let me share my screen first, my friends. And I believe like all of you, like nowadays Excel, like we are having a lot of versions in Excel. So there are like previously we had like 2010, 13, 16, but nowadays I always recommend that we should have the latest Excel version, and that is Excel 365 or Microsoft 365, because we are having lot of new things like in Excel, like 365, lot of new formulas, array formulas, which are made very like simplified way. So like the nowadays like we look up, so that's like the history, like that has like gone. So nowadays like we have come with a very excellent formula instead of we look up, that is X lookup. So like that there are various like around 40, 50 new formulas like Excel has introduced in last couple of years, like maybe like last 3 4 years, and all are like each formula is going to work like a macro or like a program. So for each formula, like we can spend like once we have that time, so definitely I can spend like 15 to 30 minutes for each formula. So that's the thing. But definitely like I'll suggest that like you should have the latest Excel, and then you should explore the things. And after my this like session, definitely you are going to find that okay, there are so many new things which has come like in Excel, and definitely they are going to help us. So my friends, I'm going to share my screen first. And moderator, please, like in case like we are having any queries, so please let me know in between, like you can anytime like you can tell me.
Sure.
Yes, I hope my screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir, it
Okay.
is. Yes.
Okay. So we are going to see like how Excel is going to be helpful for data analysis, for enhancing audit quality. Right. For audit trail, like if you feel that okay, Excel like can be part of audit trail, so that like I'll say sorry, like Excel, because Excel is a very user friendly like this tool or software. It's not like an ERP or like Tally or some BG like SAP, Oracle. So here it's not that, okay, we are going to make these entries and then we can have a trail for all the entries. So Excel, like anytime we can play with the like multiple rows, like millions of cells. Anytime like we can delete the data, we can insert the data, we can like do any type of analysis. So it's not that we are going to keep like all the trailing here in Excel. But yes, Excel can be very helpful when we are going to have data from like different ERPs. So once like we are going to have some data, and from that data, we want to do some analysis, and we want to find something like exceptional items or something like trend analysis or something like see like any type of like charts, or like we want to show some like visibility wise also like something good. So that all those things like we can do with the Excel very easily. So there is no investment, like all of you are having Excel. So you are like very used to working on this Excel. Just like we should be little smart. So we should use Excel in a smart way, because I believe, like I feel that okay, Excel is an aeroplane, but most of us we are not using even it like a cycle. So definitely like we are going to use it. So it's going to save a lot of time, as well as like quality also like it's going to like enhance. So friends, like I'm going to show something like here, and also we are going to discuss with some Excel 365 functions also. For that also, like I'm having a separate file for Excel 365. There are like lot of new formulas, which also like I'm going to give you a quick overview that how like these are going to be helpful in our data analysis or like doing work very fast. So I'm sure like this flash will like most of you like for cleaning of the data. So all of you are aware this is like very old tool, but one of very like I'll say very like smart tool, very easy to use tool without any like knowing the formula or without any knowing the coding for very quick way of data cleaning. So this can be very helpful, this flash fill. So people who already knows, so I'm sure they are using. So this is very old, like for last 10 years, we are having this tool. And friends, this tool, like where like this tool is lying for us. Let's see. So here, like when you go to the data tool, data tab. So here in data tab, here, like if you go to this data tools, here, like if you see, we are having this tool with the name of this tool is Flashfill. And what is the shortcut key? I hope you can let me enhance like this little size of my screen. So like if you see here, so this is the flash fill, that is Control E. That is the shortcut key. And I'm sure like when we are going to use the shortcut key, so a lot of like things we can do by using this. So in case like suppose we are having like such type of names, and suppose we want to convert these names something like V. Agarwal. So definitely like just we give one clue, and after that we go anywhere, just press Control E, and automatically we are going to get the like all the data cleaning, whether we are having the 5 names or 500,000 names. In the same way, sometimes like we are having the single word, and here we are having the name as well as the numbers also, and you want to find only numbers. So just you give one or two example, press Control E, and you are going to find the numbers. So this is not possible even with the help of formulas, but with the help of Excel, like this flash fill, this artificial intelligence, definitely it's going to help us and it's going to give us quick result. So very quickly, because this topic, like I have covered many times, so maybe some of you are already aware, but someone like who is seeing this first time, so for him or her, like this is going to work like a magic. So here, like if I put here the last name and first name, so if I put here Behel Sapna, so if I go there and put Control E, immediately it's going to give me like all the name, like even the last name and first name. Sometimes like if you can ask the question here, where is the Kumar? Where is the D? Where is the Raj? Because first example which we gave, so that was only for two words. But something like here we want to do for Kumar also. Suppose you want instead of Brijvasi Deepak, you want Brijvasi Deepak Kumar. So once I do the F2 and if I put enter, so you see the magic. Automatically it has taken care for Modi Nendar, Adityanath, Yogi. So all the three names, like where we are having three words, so automatically it has taken care. And it's not only that this flash fill is going to work only for like single column, for multiple columns also. It can give like lot of this result. So suppose we are having some data like this, and we put here, we purchased 15 laptops in Jan from Vijay in India. Something like I put here. So now if you want to do it's the same thing for all, it's the same pattern. Press Control E and you are going to get the immediate results for all the things. So once you are going to use it practically with your like very huge data, so definitely you will see how like it's going to help us for like making our data like clean and doing the analysis for that. And now, like friends, like sometimes like you feel that okay, we are having GST number, and from that GST, like suppose we want to get my state code. So like getting the state code, you should know some like formulas like left, mid, or maybe pen this pen number you want to find. But here, just to give one example, state code, control E, and you are going to get all the results. So there is no limit. Within second, hundreds, thousands like records, like it's going to give the result. So I'll suggest that you do this like control E. This is one of the tool, and like that, there are so many small tools like shortcut keys are there, which are going to helpful like in doing our like things and in audit, like it's going to save a lot of time. So that was like here sometimes like suppose we are having something like numbers. So let's see, let me show you something, some complex examples that yes, you want to extract only numbers from this. Like suppose you are having like something like this phone number, and here you are having something brackets minus equal to. So again, like just you give one example to Excel 982061001 and 40. And after that, you go to any cell below this control E and you are going to get all the results. So you like see such type of magic like for which like we are spending lot of like time like maybe hours, days, and still we are not sure that whether what we have done, whether that is correct or not, because ultimately we are human being. So in case like something we are going to do manually, so definitely we are going to make the mistakes. But here, because the system is going to do, so definitely it's going to help us, and it won't make any mistake if we are having a pattern. So this is the one thing like quickly like I wanted to show you that okay, how this magic of flash fill is going to work and going to help us. Now, my friend, sometimes like we are having some data like this. Okay, so suppose we are having data like this. Here, like if you see here, so like region, salesperson, customer, date, and sale. But here you see, I'm having something like missing cells also, like here, something blank cells also. And if someone asks you that, okay, you do some analysis from this data, you do some pivot table from this data, you do some filtering from this data. So will it be possible? Like if I ask the moderators, so they are also like young chartered accountants. So if I ask like Ansu, Sweetie, so what would be your answer? That okay, in case like here, so first thing like whether Sweetie you tell me or Ansu that okay, whether this data is correct or not, or can you assume something that okay, what like this blank cells like reflects. Suppose you went for some interview and the interviewer is asking you question. So can you do the analysis from this data? Or you are going to ask the interviewer that the data is incomplete? What would be your answer?
I think,
Definitely, so like
yeah,
we would say, like this is an incomplete and ad hoc data. We want complete information from you.
So you would ask the interviewer that like this data is incomplete. So please give me the complete data. Then only I'll be doing. Am I right? What
Yes.
you'll say,
yes.
sweetie? What's your like thought? Is it incomplete or you can assume something?
I think we can we'll first of all confirm with the interviewer or whosoever the person is. What I assume, maybe it may be wrong. Suppose I think this east region, is
Mm.
like applicable for row 3 to row 18. This is my assumption,
Yes,
right?
it's not
But
an exemption. That's the like analysis. Like once like you
yeah,
are going
Mm.
to get the data. So most of the times like pivot table you have seen. So this is showing that okay, we are talking about East region. We are
yes,
talking about this salesperson Batman. We are
Batman,
talking about Apple.
Apple.
For Apple customer,
Apple.
for these different dates, we have made sale of like this. Okay. So first like the
Yes, sir.
thing is your assumption is like good. But now if you want to complete this data, so that's a very tedious job. So what will happen if you are going to do it manually like this? If you are going to do like this, like dragging this manually, so it can take like hours depending on the volume of the data. So there may be 25 columns, there may be thousands of rows. And again, like sometimes like maybe when you are going to drag this like this, okay, And suppose when you are dragging, at the same time, you got a call from someone. So when you are dragging and you went there and you dragged it, what will happen? Some
Error.
blunder can happen, right? So you will find that, okay, instead of like Godrej, what happened? We put the OD everywhere. So then once like one it is taking time, and the other thing, there is mistake or blunder can also happen, right? Even like we are not aware that what like mistakes we have done, right? So and once like even like you have spent like lot of time and you have done all the things after spending like 2 hours, 3 hours, or maybe half a day, and once you went to your boss or manager, and the manager told that, oh sweetie, like this like particular file you have done, but sorry, like I got some new file from the client, from the other department, and you please do the same work for the other file also. Now what will be your position? Are you getting my point? So unnecessary, like we are not doing something like for which like company has hired us. So our work is doing the analysis to tell the like company like some good like KPIs or some data, some trending, so that they can take decision. But something like this type of work which we are doing, that is not like for which like we have done the like CA. So this type of work like we should keep on the Excel, so that Excel is doing this in a very quick way, in a very accurate way. So for that, like we should aware about the like tools, or we should aware about the Excel, that okay, how the same thing, irrespective of the data size, we can do within seconds, not minutes, irrespective of the data size, whether you are having 50 columns or 500,000 rows, but the same thing we can do within 10 seconds, 5 seconds. But for that, you should aware that, okay, we are having so many tools, like you see, like in home, in the ribbon, we are having so many things. In insert tab, in draw tab, like just now I showed in data tab also, we are having this flash fill. So like that, in home, we are having something find and select. So once like you go to this find and select, there is a very great tool, and that is go to spatial. So
Go to
what this
special.
go to spatial can do, so in case like suppose if I'm going to select this data where I need to do all the things, so I need to just select the my operation area where I need to do the particular thing, and go to find and select, go to spatial. And here, if you see, there are so many tools. So right now, I can't talk that all these radio buttons. I need at least 30 to 40 minutes to complete this. But for this particular scenario, I can select only blanks. That I want to select only blanks. So once I selected the blanks, you see, so my all the blanks have selected. And here, my friends, if you see, just for your purpose, I am showing this color also. All these color area I need to do that. Apple should go down, Batman should go down, Godrej should go down. So here my active cell, if you see, that is C3. In C3, what I want to keep equal to C2. So C2 should be C3, right? So that is a formula. And my formula, if I'm going to put at one slide, so automatically my reference will get changed. So instead of putting enter, if I put the shortcut key, that is control enter. So if you I put control enter, automatically all the cells are filled within seconds, right? So the same thing, like where irrespective of the data size, quality is good and everything is done within second. Now once it is done, so we can do the pivot table, we can do the filtering, we can do the any whatever the task we want to do. So from that data we can do. So that is the way like we should use Excel in a smart way. So in case like if you see, like even like if you are not aware about the Excel, like these small things, so obviously you are going to take time in your work area. And if you go for interview, and if there are 2%, 3%, and one person like is able to do the same thing and the other is not able to do, obviously who is going to get select? Both are chartered accountants, but it's not only CA, like obviously. So like that's we have done. But at the same time, we should go with the technology. We should go with the latest tools. What is latest thing in the market? Chat GPT, we should aware that nowadays for writing letters, replying the letter, any like So chat GPT is going to be very, very helpful. So maybe some complex things we can write within seconds, very like good answers we can make. So this is the one thing like I wanted to cover here quickly, but there are so many other things also which we can do. One is like goal seek. How goal seek is going to like help us. So suppose I'm giving taking very small example because again like uh, we have very limited time. So it's not that okay in this 1 hour like I can tell you like maybe 100 hours things, but just like I'm giving some glimpse. So now it's on you how you like you take those things and how you do some R&D and you do the practice. Definitely like I'm having my YouTube channel also with the name of Champ Excel. So you can visit that channel also, and there you can find a lot of like tips or like videos. So in Corona days, I have taken a lot of like sessions for ICI. All most of the recordings are there. So here, like suppose we are having some my gross total income. So this is like some old data. So I'm having some deduction of ATC like 70,000. Total income this tax 30%, education sales, total tax, advance tax paid 2 lakhs, balance tax payable 21,000. So suppose like my client like comes to me and he says to me that okay, I don't want to pay tax. What should I do? Yes, Sweetie Ansu, so can you tell me, so what is the option, like what like suggestion I can give to the client that for if he doesn't want to pay the tax, so what he can do?
Like we would advise the client to increase their, investments in ATC. This can be one thing.
Yes,
So
exactly.
yeah, so as to reduce the total income.
Yes, so this is the one of the variable, right? So I'm taking like this is very simple. Maybe you can do the with calculator also, but sometimes like my this template, so that is very complex. There are some HR is also involved. There are like female, male is also involved. There are like some old person or like the young person. So there may be like 100 types of different like variables are there. And after like taking all the variables, I'm computing the tax. If I'm going to make any like adjustment or any things change, obviously my thing tax is going to change. So if my this client says I don't want to pay even a single rupee, and even I don't want the refund also. So what exact amount? So maybe you will do that. Okay, maybe let's try with 80,000. Oh, no, no, no. Let's try with 1,50,000. No, that's also, it won't work. Then like maybe, so something like we are not able to give the exact thing that, okay, what is the exact amount he should invest? So we are just doing the like trial and error, right? So definitely it can take time. And in complex things, definitely it's going to be very, very complex, right? So here, in case we want to do some like that is called goal seek. So here I can say that, okay, I want to find something that what goal seek like I'm going to find. What if analysis? So here I'm saying I need to find some goal seek. So here see set cell, which cell you want to put which value. So I'm saying this cell, like let me take like this cell, I want to make what I want to make this cell. Yes,
0.
0. So I said 0. By changing cell, which cell I want to change? I want to change this cell. So I'm asking the Excel, please, based on my all the calculations. Right now, this is very easy calculation. I'm saying you can do even the calculator also, maybe after 2, 3, 5, like hit and trial. But when we are having our model, very, very complex, where the depreciation is also involved, lot of different workings are involved, then doing this is not easy. So now once I put the 0 and if I say OK, so it is saying that OK, we found the solution, and it is saying if you are going to invest 1,38,974.36, you see exact the paise also like it is telling, then your tax will be absolutely 0. Got my point? So like that, we can use this goal seek also and such type of things like sometimes like we want to see that, okay, where which variable we are going to change, and accordingly I'm going to get the some result and take the precision also. So such type of things like also we can do. Then again, like I'm taking very small examples that okay, how like it's going to help us. Then let's do something next. So sometimes let's see, I'm having some data like this. So I'm having like some like maybe sometimes like tally data also I'm having, and maybe I'm having that okay, this is like some expenses for like audit expenses, printing expenses, or like here I'm having electricity expenses, something like there are so many expenses like we are having here. So this is like purchase. So here something travel or foreign travel. So such type of expenses we are having. And now, if someone says that, okay, please do some like analysis of this data. So we are having like these are the like different entities or different like voucher number or like maybe the date. So here, if I want to make a pivot table, what exactly I need to do? What exactly I need to do? How my data should be there to make a proper pivot table?
All the rows should be filled.
No, field like that is one thing. Okay, that is one thing that okay, that is should be field. But still, like in case like I want to do or like let's take my old
There's
example.
there should not be an empty cell in the table, I guess.
No, empty cell is okay. But suppose if I'm having April 10, May
Mhm.
10, June 10, if someone asks you that, okay, give me some quarter data, give me some year data, give me something
Mhm.
like I want to make some pivot table. So pivot table, if I'm having multiple columns, is it going to work for me? What should be the my exact data? So if I'm going to have my data like something country, here should be product, and here should be
What?
month or oblique date, whatever like is there, and here should be amount. So in case if I'm going to have my data only in the 4 columns, not in the multiple columns, then I can do any type of analysis. I can do like year wise also data comparison also anything. But here, if you see, I'm having multiple columns. Sometimes there may be like hundreds of columns are there. Sometimes like we got some data and maybe we are having the trial balance. These are the GL code and we are having 25 entities. And for all entities, we are having the trial balance. One entity, second entity, third entity. And if you want to like consolidate all the data, it's very difficult how to do this. Maybe right now we are having number of rows only 12. My number of rows can be increased, but my data should be like in this format. So doing this manually, it's going to take a lot of time. So what like it's going to do, like what we need to do first, we need to fill this like this. First, like we need to fill this, and then again like I'm showing you what like manually if I'm going to do, and that again depending on the volume. So first I do control C and here I'll put this is paste, then I'll put this is the month and here I'm going to put this month, control V, then I'm going to put this amount and here control C, I'm going to put control V. This is I have done for only one like column. Then the same thing I need to do control C. This time I'll go below this. And here I need to put the May 10. Again, like I need to copy all these things same way here. And here I need to put May 10. So like that, I need to create, this is called unpivot. Like this is the data something which is like as a report, this can be good. But as a database, this data is not a good. Because for creating like any analysis, my data should be in such type of like in such format. But now, if you are going to use Excel, latest Excel, or like in case like you are having the this data, this Excel 365, or even like Excel 2000, like 19 or 21 also. So there we got a concept of Power Query. So Power Query is a very, very big like concept. So maybe like we can take 3 days, 4 days, like complete session, full day session. But just I'm telling you one quality of that data that, okay, how like we can do this. So here, my friends, what we can do, just I selected this data and I went to the data and I said that, okay, like transform data from table or range. Once I click this is the standard thing I'm showing you. Nothing like it's not that you have to install something or you have to do or you have to buy something. All of your Excels like you are having this. So once like I got this, automatically I went to the back end of the Excel. This new screen got. And here also I'm having the screen something like Excel. So here, uh, right now, just a second, I show you something. This also here because I was having this I did manually. So that also like it can do automatically. I'll show you how it's going to do that. Let me again take this data and this time again I put, so this is my data. So here like US null. So here there are so many options are there. And one of the option is there in transform that fill. And in fill, what is the option? What we call it? So that is called down. So if I'm going to click this down, automatically my all the data will be like filled with the upper one. So one thing like I have done, now I'm having country, product and multiple columns. So now I want to put all these columns as a unpivot. So what I can select, I selected these two columns and then I am having here that unpivot columns, unpivot data, or right click also and here I said unpivot other columns. So once I selected this unpivot other columns, my all the headers had come downside and all the values and this has repeated multiple times. And now my data has converted into this. Even like if I want to convert this into a date, so just I can do this and I can say that, okay, convert into date. So like that 1st April, 1st May, that also like I can convert. So I'm having country, product and attribute and value. So once like I do this, I said close and load. So once I close, my data has been converted into this data, cars and date and value. And now I can do anything. So now if you see here, my data unpivot. So this is the beauty and everything it's going to work. And the one more thing, like suppose in future my data is going to change. And here suppose instead of country, like I put here the name of Sweetie. Okay. And here I put the name of Ansu. Okay, again, like here, if I put here Vijay and here I put the name of Siva, right? And maybe like some more rows also, like we can add here or we can change the amount also. Suppose even if I can put some blank rows also, even then like it's going to take care. Or if I'm going to enhance some rows, just I need to go to the my table. And if I'm going to go here, what should I do? Yes, Sansu, are you aware? What should I do now? Because my data has got changed. Yes, sweetie. Yes, Sansu.
Now, now you can just put the pivot to it because it's we have proper 4 rows and we don't have
No, no.
multiple.
My data has changed. Now, like I want to reflect there this data, this like data, but my table it is showing this one, US cars. So what should I do now?
You have to make the data, arrange the data like you said.
No, no. First I need to like get the latest data here.
Right, we have to, take that latest data and merge with this data, and you have to
No,
make,
no, but already like I have done this thing.
mhm.
So already there was like country was US. My now date had changed. My value had changed. Now I want that okay my data. So like in a pivot table we do. So just right click and there is a button refresh. So once like I'm going
Okay,
to do the
okay.
refresh,
Mhm.
automatically now I'm getting the new names. Now I'm going to
Okay.
get the new data, new value, and my data will change. So you see, we need to do only once. Once like we have
Mhm.
done this, later on, my data is going to change automatically. my database will reflect immediately within second. So every time I don't need to put the query. Only once like I need to make, and that's going to work for me, and it's going to update my data. Even like if I'm going to change the amount again, like you can put like here, you can put instead like for Sweetie, like for cars value is 1 lakh. So in case again, if I go and if I put here refresh, you see automatically this value is going to reflect here, and accordingly my dashboard, my table, my charts, everything is going to change it there. So we can have the latest data, and accordingly like we can do the analysis for the data. So this is also like one of the agenda item, like I told you that, okay, how to do this goal seek, how to fill blanks, how to do this flash fill, how to do this unpivot tally data for quick analysis. So quickly, now I'm going to tell you what is like VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. Have you heard about XLOOKUP? Either of you?
Yes.
Are you using
Yes, sir.
XLOOKUP or VLOOKUP? Which one you are using?
Like we are comfortable with VLOOKUP, but I guess we know how to use XLOOKUP.
But why you are comfortable VLOOKUP? Like VLOOKUP is a very bad formula, I'll say. Like nowadays, you should never ever use VLOOKUP. Like for last 4 years, like I'm telling my clients, I'm telling my students like that, okay, never just like you put the VLOOKUP in dustbin. So that's a very bad formula. So can you tell me some of the problem areas where we are going to get the VLOOKUP? Maybe our participants, they can also write in the chat box, and you can also take help from them. What is the problem with VLOOKUP? Can someone tell me?
Yeah, the problem with VLOOKUP is that it goes from left to right.
Yes, this is one of the biggest problems.
Yes.
Apart from that, what other problems are there?
Like column index issues are there for this, and like one of this like exact match and appropriate match issues are there in the VLOOKUP.
What is the issue of column? Are you aware the column issue like something? Here, like in case, like suppose if I want to find the marks of Deepak, okay. So in case if I'm going to use the VLOOKUP, so this is the VLOOKUP value, lookup value. I need to give the full table. This is my table array. Okay, full table I need to give. And here I need to put the like fix also, otherwise reference will change. So do I need to put the dollar also. Then here, for getting the marks, which column number I should give here?
3.
3. So here if I put 3 and if I put here 0, that is false, like the exact match. So if I put here, I'm going to get the results for that. Now suppose this data, this result you are having in other sheet, and later on this data your boss told that, okay, before these marks also put the previous year marks, and you inserted one columns, and here if you put the last year marks, and here you put something like this, and now like if suppose you are going to get this result, what will happen? Is this a true picture or correct picture?
No, it has changed. We need to
Right.
reapply the formula.
So here like we are going to get the, or maybe like here suppose we put something like 95. So now you will see Manish is happy. Oh, I got 95 marks, but actually he got the 42 marks. And Aditya, he's mad that I did so good, but why I get the 70 marks? And Deepak, he make do the suicide. Oh, out of 64, he got only 20 marks, because now my data, it is getting the third columns. So here I need to do the, again, I need to do the manually. Instead of 3, what I need to put? 4th column. Am I right? That is the problem.
Yes.
What other problem is there? If suppose these marks, like let me put here something like control Z. And in case, suppose if I put these marks control X and here, again this is 0. Or if I put this name control X here, this is error. Like all these problems have been taken care by the X lookup. X lookup is the combination of V lookup as well as H lookup. like there were two formulas, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, but here we can do with the same formula, XLOOKUP. There is no any side you can like go. Like if you write X, like if you see the X, like here, like if I show you the X, so just observe the X and you'll see this X four-way, top, left, right, everywhere, like we can see. But we can go only one way. So XLOOKUP is four-way like thing we can do. So the same thing let's do with XLOOKUP. How it is going to work? XLOOKUP, I'm going to put here XLOOKUP. Here again same value, lookup value. This time I need to give only single column from where to find. And then where what I want to find? Marks. So I give again the value. No zero, no column number, nothing. You should not give anything. And now I put enter. And now let's take here. Both results are same. But now you see the beauty of XLOOKUP. If suppose if I take control X and I put here control V, my XLOOKUP is still working. If I insert a column, if I go there and insert a column, this has gone on toss, but still it is working. Nothing has gone away, right? And even like if I'm going to take this marks on the left side, that then also like it's going to work. Even I can take the name, even on the other sheet also, still it is going to work. Like if I took this other sheet, still my XLOOKUP is working. You see? So that is the beauty, like we should use XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP is going to be very, very helpful for us. So that's why like I told that, okay, so you should never use VLOOKUP. So like that there are more than 40 new formulas has come in like Excel 365. Now, quickly I'm going to show you my friends something like aging analysis. So like for audit quality, like there is something for as a auditor, we always need to do the aging analysis. So suppose if I'm going to have some data, like I'm having hundreds of customers are there. I'm having the invoice number, invoice date, sales and outstanding days. As on 31st December 23, what is my outstanding days? Now I want to see, maybe sometimes like in my company audit, I need to like mention that, okay, maybe I need to make some provisions also. If more than 365 days, how much provision I need to take? Sometimes more than 180 days, I need to mention like in my reports also. So such type of things we take hours and hours. And once my data is going to change, again I need to do spend a lot of time. But here, my friends, if I'm going to use Excel in a smarter way, doing the aging, this is just a few second job, not even a minute. So let's see how it's going to work. So suppose I'm having my data like this. Let's put this, these are the headers. Go to any cell, go to insert and put the pivot table. Once I put the pivot table, automatically it will take the database. I said, okay. It will create a new sheet. Now suppose I want to see customer wise, what is my outstanding. So it is showing these are the outstanding for my each customer. So I am having like, these are the customer names, like 288 customers, but transactions are many. Now suppose I want to see like not customer wise, but date wise. So this is showing me for January, February, like this is the data. But this is not the aging. I want the aging, that, okay, how to find the like this aging. So that like I need to find the data. So for that, what should I do? Here I'm having outstanding days. So I got outstanding days here. Once I got the outstanding days here, it is showing for 3 days, this much is pending. For these, this is pending. For 28 days, but no, I need 0 to 30 or 0 to 50, such type of bracket. So here in pivot table, there is a very good thing. Right click and go to group. And if I put in the group that I want to put a grouping of starting with 1 and ending with 360. And for each bracket should have how much? 30. So I'm saying grouping, please make a grouping starting at 1, ending at 360 or maybe 180. If you want 180 by 30. And once like I selected this, if I say OK, my grouping is ready. You see 1 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90 and more than 180 and all the data is ready. Now, suppose if I want to see this party wise, I can see the party wise also. What I can put outstanding days here. And I want to put the customer name. So just by customer name. So it is showing me for this customer 1 to 30 is this one, this one. Invoice wise also I want to make. So I can put before customer invoice wise also. So now I can see that, okay, with each invoice number, which bracket like I'm going to have. Or in case like if I want to see month wise, like for which month, what is the things? So I can put the invoice date here and here like for January, February, like it is showing that, okay, this is 1 to 30 days, 31 to 60 days. So like that, we can find the things. Right? So these are the things like small things which definitely are going to help us. Now, I'm going to show you something Excel 365. How Excel 365 it's going to work. There was something dashboard also, but I don't think like we have time for the dashboard like such. This is called the dashboard. So once like we have data, we can click on the product and automatically my chart and analysis is going to change. But now let's see. I'm going to show you something Excel 365, few formulas. Suppose I am having something data like this. You want to make some sequence. Your boss told that, okay, make a like data where I need like up to 100 and please put the serial number 1 to 100. What will you do? Yes, tell me, what will you do? Yes, Ansu, sweetie, can you tell me if you want like 1 to 100, how you are going to do?
I think we'll just drag 1 to 100 and make the data.
So you are going to write 1 and 2 and then you are going to drag this. Am I right?
Yeah, flash fillet.
Okay, yeah, like that, like you are. So now after doing this, your boss told, no, I don't need 100. I need like 55,486. So you need to drag like this. So he told that I need only 8. Again, you need to drag. But if you are going to use the Excel 365, so there is no need to drag. Just a formula sequence. You give the reference of this 10 and just put enter. 10. If your boss tell 10,000, immediately till 10,000 it is going to do. If boss says up to 6 only, automatically up to 6 will be there. So this is like sequence formula. Automatically it is going to take care. Whatever the numbers you are going to put, this is real time. No dragging. Single cell formula. Even if you want the column wise also, you can put the column also automatically like 8 by 3 or 1 row 3 columns, that also will work. 1 row 5 columns, that will also work. So like that, anything like you can put here. Your boss wants, you don't want to start with 1, you want to start with 10. So everything will be started whatever you are going to select here. Right now there is a gap of 1, but you want the gap as per your choice. So you can give your choice gap also, whether you want 100 or 5 gap or -5, that everything you can do. You want only single column, single column. So this is going to give you the result for that. So this is one of the, like just I'm giving glimpse of the formula. Excel 365, single cell formula. So if we are going to use these formulas, definitely these are going to help us. There is a new formula, unique formula. How this is going to help us? Suppose I am having a data like this. I am going to have, let's see, some data like this. Here, dashboard. So you are having so many products and your company wants that, okay, give me a list of all the products. Single time, what will you do? Yes, tell me how you are going to give your manager wants that, okay, I need to have a list of the products. What will you do? How many
We
products
will
my company is dealing?
just select the product row and duplicate को remove कर देंगे उसमें by the formula like alt am.
Yes. So what you are going to do? So there, like you are going to first copy this data, Control C, and let's do Control V. And after that, once like you are going to select this data, you will go to the data, and what you told, that is a shortcut key, that is the remove duplicate, and you say OK. So now this is the list you have made. Am I right? Now,
Yes.
suppose this data, now you have also a business of samosa. You also have a business of like tea, or not like tea, maybe something like you are having something like poha. Whether you are having here samosa or poha, is it real time this list, or you need to do it again?
We need to do
Are you
it
getting
again.
my point?
Yes.
Yes.
Is not dynamic. But in case you want to make it dynamic, so what we can do, there is a new formula that is unique. So in case if I'm going to use this formula unique, and if I put here enter, single cell enter, so now I'm getting the same list. But suppose now if I put here something samosa also, so my list is also getting the samosa. And if I say I'm dealing only in two products, cold drink and burger, so my list is real time, that is cold drink and burger automatically. If I put here sandwich, so it is going to show me the sandwich also. So this is the thing, like I'm getting the my unique list real time, no refresh, nothing. If my data is going to change, automatically I'm going to get the real time data. So that's the beauty of like these like new formulas. So there are so many new formulas like which have come. So that like just like here on a small data, like if we are going to see here, so it will show me the unique that okay, Amitabh, Rajesh and Poonam, it is going to show. So like that we can do the sorting also. Something like we want to the sort the data. So these are the standard formulas which we are having. So now if I'm going to sort, automatically this data has been sorted by the female and male, the first column. But if you want to sort in the second column or third column, that is also possible. You want to sort it descending order or ascending order, that is also possible. All these are standard things. So also like quickly, like I show you something, text split, something like we got like something text split. So earlier, when we are having some data like this, and we want to split this data into multiple columns, what you used to do? कैसे करते थे आप? अगर आपके पास, if you are having a lot
Yeah.
of data and you want to split this data, how you are going to split in
Um,
multiple columns?
I think split.
Concatenate use करके.
Yes,
Not
split. We
concatenate
used
is
to.
Hmm.
adding.
Yeah. Using the split function and using that comma as a delimiter.
Yeah, so earlier you standard formula you used to do text to columns
Yes.
earlier, but that was not
Yes.
dynamic. But now if there is a new formula has come, that is text split. And here in text split, I give this text I want to split. What is my delimiter? So if I
Comma.
say my delimiter is comma, and if I put here enter, automatically it is going to split. And one more beauty of this is there, in case if I they say my splitter is not column but row, this is going to split into the rows. So in case like if I put here 1, 2, 3, comma 4, comma 555 or 666, immediately like you see, I'm getting this data on real time that is going to, and even if I'm going to delete some data from here, like 4 if I'm deleting, automatically it is taking care. So these are the new formulas, text split. That is also the Excel 365 formula, single cell formula. This is going to help us. So like that, there is one more formula, choose columns. Something like you have the data and you want to select the choose columns. And you want that from this data. Out of this data, you want to get only the first column and fifth column. So just to give, now it is giving you the first and fifth column. Or maybe you can write here first column, fourth column. Again, you want the second column. Then again, you want the first column. So here, what you can say, I need the column reference like this. And if I put enter, you see automatically I'm getting from here first column, fourth column, second column. And if I say that, okay, I want here everywhere quantity. So sixth column, 6, 6, 6, everywhere, like I'm getting the sixth column. So this is also the choose columns. That is also the Excel 365 formula. And we are going to get the result. And these like things are going to help us for like doing like things, getting doing the analysis, like in case of top 100. So out of this, you want to find only the top 10. And that also like with the last price, how to find the top 10. So here we can find, and you want only the company name and last price, but only the top 10. So what we can do, we can sort the data. How we can sort this data? That okay, this data should be sorted based on the second column and ascending, descending order. So now this data has been sorted. So whatever the share price is big, that is there. But now I want only 10, top 10. So I can select here 10 and I can give here that, okay, I want to make a report of top 10. Here there is a new formula and the formula name is draw. Okay, take. So I put here take and I said comma and please give me the 10, only 10. So now this is giving me the top 10. If I want top 5, top 5, top 3, top 12. In case if I put here that, okay, something like Sweetie Enterprise, something like I put here, and I put here the last price is 1 lakh. Let's see. Wow. So Sweetie Enterprise is on the top. So that is the 1 lakh. So like that, on real time, like I'm getting the data and it's going to give me the result. So there are so many things like which we can use with the help of Excel 365. Sometimes like we want to create like some balance sheet or like some real time like automations. So all those things like are like possible with the help of like these type of automations. So just like in case, because I know that time constraint are there and we don't have like much time. So in case you have any questions or maybe like you can check with the this chat box. And if you have any question, so like such type of automation, just I wanted to show you like one of the automations like which we can do for like clients and you can do the analysis. So in case like you are having database trial balance, there may be multiple legal entities, there may be actual or like forecasted data, there may be multiple countries or branches, there may be multiple months data, and you want to find data based on the parameter. You want for 1 month report or 3 months report, just you select the months, you select the currency, you select the absolute or thousands. Immediately you are going to get the dashboard for that. Total revenue, EBITDA, report month, previous month, and automatically in case you are going to change the data for Europe, all everything. If you want to do worldwide, all the world. In worldwide, you want the report for India only, India. If my data is going to change, I'm going to get the results and everything. Like that, you can get the balance sheet also. You can get the PL also, profit and loss, comparison, all those things. If my data is going to change, everything is going to reflect on real-time basis. So all those things are possible with the help of formulas, with the help of dashboard, with the help of Excel 365. All those things we can do. And this is going to help us in better data, like audit quality, doing analysis, finding the exceptional items, all those things like this is going to help us. So that was all from my side. So anything like questions, so you please
Yeah.
can ask me.
So, I would like to firstly thank you, Vijay sir and Shiv Prakash sir, for the insightful seminar. Your expertise has been very invaluable for us. Now, let's open the floor for the question and discussion. So, Sweetie, would you like to go first for the questions?
Yeah, I can. My first question is basically, uh, like, I wanted to ask, sir, suppose we were talking about these Excel features, these Microsoft Excel 365 features. So I wanted to understand, suppose, are these formulas possible in the same sheet or in the same worksheet, or we can just do them in a separate worksheet as well? Like we were applying the functions
No, no,
unique.
a separate worksheet also, separate workbook like the earlier formulas we were working in the same way these are going to work. There is nothing to do with the same sheet or like something. Just we have to give the range or reference and it is going to work. Whether it is in the same sheet or a different sheet or different workbook, everywhere it is going to work.
Okay.
So I would
And
like to take the second question. So, we were talking on the Excel. Like, only the financials can be uploaded on the Excel. What about the audit observations we make in our, while doing the audit? So, what about them? Can we upload those observations or do something about them in the Excel?
Yeah, yeah. So observations also like like Excel is a like
Mm.
spreadsheet. So generally like it is like used for the handling the data, doing the analysis. It's not a Word document. But still like if you want to put something like as a audit observations, so that also like as a note like you can just put in one like column and reference and you can put there and we can do the spell check. We can do some filtering also. We like with new formulas we can make the different sheets also like observation for particular departments. So department wise we can find the observations, we can do the analysis. So all those things like we can do in the Excel, like the data we are doing.
Okay, thank you. That was helpful.
so my next question was, I just wanted to ask, you showed that we can change, the goal seek function using one variable. Could you show us an example where we can modify, suppose the tax to be 0 by using two variables?
Yes, two variables also. We are having the different like things like in here like we are having the goal seek and there we are having something like different like scenario manager or like the solver. So if we are going to, because goal seek is always going to work on the single variable. For multiple variables, then solver is the like thing that is also part of the Excel where like it can help us with the help of solver.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I would like to ask a question to Mr. Shiv Prasad, sir. So, how can an auditor balance between a thorough documentation and efficiency in the audit process?
Yeah, sorry, come back again, please. How can the auditor?
How can the auditor balance between a thorough documentation and efficiency in the audit process?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, audit documentation and efficiency both are on same side.
I
Uh,
would say efficiency in the audit process.
yes, yes, I got it. I got it.
Mm.
Uh, more the documentation, more the
Mm.
efficiency. In fact, it is not that
Mm.
by documenting more, we are impairing or affecting the efficiency. It may so happen if we are doing it manually, then what happens is audit documentation becomes another burden, some task, and a post-mortem task, which may reduce audit time. Okay. So the only way to balance it is to automate, to put processes in place, to have a well thought of documentation system. Otherwise, what happens is instead of doing the audit exactly, we will be running after the documentation. So having better systems at place and better processes in place is the only way.
So I
Okay,
wanted
thank you,
to,
sir.
yeah, I wanted to ask one question, Sivaprasad. So we use Tally, often times for most of the clients. So can we give disclaimer of opinion when we use Tally because there's no audit trail in that?
One is Tally is having audit trial now. Okay. Tally is audit trial enabled and we can set the settings. And apart from that, even if let us say there is a breach of audit trial. So can we give a disclaim or shall we have to give a qualification opinion? It depends on various other factors. Okay. Audit trial is a statutory requirement. So therefore it is not possible for us to disclaim unless we have no access to the information. unless we are prevented by the management. In such a case, we may disclaim, but in most of the cases, disclaimer is not possible. We have to take a stand on that, whether it is there or not there. Tally and most of the accounting packages today are enabled for audit trail.
I just wanted to ask another question. In the data analytics, when we were doing using the software, so can we use the tool to, connect with, can we connect the tool with the company's software, because company files are usually, very voluminous. So
Yeah. Yes, it is possible. We call it as API integration. If the company allows it and the company software had got that capability, like most of the modern softwares have got that. But then because of the security issue, because of some other issue, most of the companies may not be willing to share that. So that is integration, that is seamless integration, which is also there. If there is no seamless integration, what we can do is we can download the data in Excel and upload it as an Excel or a CSV. Excel is the best option. That is there anyway.
I think we should just wrap up with the question and answer round here. So
Nice,
as we wrap
nice.
up, as we wrap up today's seminar, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you for your participation and engagement. A special thank you goes to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Shiv Prakash Prasad and Vijay sir, for their valuable insights and thought-provoking presentations. Your expertise and passion have truly enriched our understanding of the seminar. Like, I also want to acknowledge the efforts of everyone involved in organizing this event, the AASB board. Your hard work behind the scenes has made the seminar a very successful. So thank you once again for joining us today. Have a great and a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of Auditing and
Thank you, sir.
Assurance Standard Board of ICI, I also extend my heartiest thanks towards to Shiva Prasad ji and Vijay Agarwal ji for sparing their valuable time. In spite of having busy schedule in this September month, they have agreed us to deliberate and enlighten all our members with their expertise. So once again, thank you so much for wonderful deliberation, Shiva Prasad sir and Vijay sir, always available for the profession. So thank you so much, both the learned speakers, and I also thanks both the moderators for today's webinar. Thank you so much, Sweetie Madam. Thank you so much, Anshu ji.
Pleasure.
And
It's my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
So
Pleasure
really,
is
thank
ours,
you.
sir. It is the second time
So,
we are sharing the screen. We are sharing the stage along with Vijay, sir. Thank you.
yes. So I remember, like in Faridabad also, like
Yes.
you were part of the session. So good to see. Like
thank you, sir.
keep in touch. And thank you, Anilji.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you,
Thank you, sir.
Ansu and
Thank you.
Sweetie, for making the session very interactive for your like continuing like sport.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Good
giving
evening.
this opportunity. Thank you.
Good evening. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.